Well, hello, my friends. I was reading this morning in Mark chapter 4 about the great windstorm that came up with Jesus and the disciples. The Bible says the waves are beating on the boat and there's water filling in the boat. And Jesus is asleep in the stern with his head on a pillow. And they come and awake him. And they ask him the question, "Teacher, don't you care that we're about to perish?" Then he arose and rebuked the wind and the sea. Then he says, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. You know, about every minister that I know has a sermon or two on storms. I don't know about you, but I've preached a few of them myself. Now, I'm not an expert on storms, but right now our nation is struggling through a storm. So is the church. Now, I'm certainly not a meteorologist, and I don't study weather patterns. But life has taught me something about storms. I'd like to share 3 of those lessons that I've learned in life that I believe could maybe be beneficial to all of us right now. The first thing that I'd like to tell you is that when it comes to storms, everybody has them. Nobody's exempt. This is something that we all have in common. And isn't it true that as you observe the weather patterns of each of the 7 continents of the world, every continent has a storm or two that's familiar to their certain locale? Windstorms, sandstorms, cyclones, tidal waves, earthquakes. Here in America, we've grown accustomed to hurricanes and tornadoes. Storms have a way of blowing into our life. They've always been with us, and you know what? They're going to continue to be with us. And in the same way in life, we have personal storms that blow our way. And unlike the Weather Channel, we don't have an alarm system to come and to tell us to get ready, to hunker down, that we got to get through this storm together. Life hits us hard. Death, sickness, divorce, loss of job, abuse. No wonder the Bible says in this world you will have tribulation. The truth of the matter is this, is that when it comes to storms, everybody goes through them. But the second thing I know about a storm is that when you're in a storm, you need to find shelter. Not a one of us, including me, was made to endure a storm without protection. In any storm, the best way to survive it is to find safety and shelter until the storm passes over. That's why in Mark chapter 4, Jesus did something that I find very interesting. Once he's awakened, he rebukes the source of the storm. Remember? He rebuked the wind, and then he speaks peace over the effects of the storm by saying, "Peace, be still." Now, why would he do that? Because it's one thing to be hit by a sudden storm, but the aftermath of a storm can last for days, weeks, months, or even like some hurricanes, it can last for years. The death of a loved one is one thing, but going home to an empty house, that's another. Standing in divorce court is one thing to deal with, but raising children on a one-parent income, that's a different matter. Being told that you have cancer, that's one thing. But going through chemotherapy, why, that's completely different. That's why Jesus said, "Peace, be still." And that's why the Bible says, there was a great calm. This is why we need the shelter of God over our lives. Like the old song that I've sang many times in my life, and I'm sure you have too. It says, "Till the storm passes over, until the thunder sounds no more, till the clouds roll forever from the sky, hold me fast. Let me stand in the hollow of your hand. Keep me safe till the storm passes by." Now, the third and final thing I want to say briefly to you is this. Every storm, all storms, eventually pass away. They don't last forever. Like coronavirus, it's going to pass. We're going to walk out of this valley. God's not had the final word yet on this. So take hope today that whatever you're going through, whatever you're fearful of, whatever is keeping you awake at night, God has this, and it will pass away. I encourage you today to rest in the fact that even though you may be restless, Jesus is resting. While you and I can't sleep, He is on the throne, watching out for you and I. He had victory over the wind and he had victory over the storm because he was filled with faith. You see, he was living from kingdom to earth. So don't ever forget the fact that God already has the end in mind before he ever begins anything. That's why we know him as Alpha, the beginning, and Omega, the end. Now let me say this to you. May the Lord bless and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. I love you, and I'm excited about what God is doing, preparing the church in these last days. I want to encourage you, minister, pastor, layperson, get ready. Soon the light's going to turn green and we're going to kind of start assembling together again. So it's important that we use this time wisely and sharpen our skills and be about the Father's business. We're going to make it, and we're going to be greater, we're going to be bigger, we're going to be better because of it. Don't lose heart. God is still in control. You have a blessed day.